Shalom, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the free astrotheology course. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I am Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. All right, so 1 second. Let me check the connection. All right, sounds good, y'all. So welcome, everyone. So in this class, we're going to talk about, I wonder why my video is not moving. Hold on, y'all. Let me see what's happening. Hold on. Give me one moment. Mic check, mic check. It looks like the video is not moving. Hold on. I don't know what's happening. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Is it all right now? All right. Looks like it's good now. All right, y'all. Welcome to the free astrotheology course. I am Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I hope the image is okay with the camera. I hope the camera is stable. Let me see, y'all. Let me get this together. All right. So today I'm going to talk about a big topic, a topic that many of us have never heard about. And that is that Joseph enslaved the Egyptians. Let me repeat that. Joseph, the alleged savior of the Egyptians in partnership with Pharaoh, actually enslaved the Egyptians in partnership with Pharaoh. Let me restate that. Somebody who claimed to have a dream and needed someone to interpret a dream came across another person who claimed that they were experts in interpreting dreams. Maybe he was, maybe he was not. Maybe Pharaoh was telling the truth about his dream. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. Maybe Joseph was telling the truth. Maybe these are real stories, 50% real, or maybe they're all made up. That's not the issue. The issue is, what do we learn from what happened then? And do we see it now? And have we seen it in the past? That's what's really happening. So in other words, religion and government coming together under the pretense of solving a problem. And then the outcome is the denationalization of the people, totally stripping them of all of their wealth, all of their worldly possessions, all of their land, their entire birthright. Strip it from them. And then ultimately the people agree or even to offer themselves to be slaves of the government so that they could live. And the perception of the government and the religion is manipulated to put them in the position of being saviors, and that the common people should be lucky. They should feel lucky that the religion or Joseph and the government or Pharaoh saved them. That's what we're going to talk about right now. All right? That's what we're going to talk about right now. So y'all, I don't know of any other of our people who have disclosed this. I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows. I'm not, that's not my message at all. If I know, lots of other people know, but they haven't told you. So you have to ask yourself why. But let me, before I do that, let me first, y'all, if y'all been following me, you know I come to this cafe quite often. So I'm gonna, this is what I'm eating today. This is a traditional Vietnamese, can y'all see that? Traditional Vietnamese dish. This is, I think, a rice noodle. It's a rice noodle. Can y'all see that? And this is some type of leaf, and it has vegetables inside. It may have beef inside, but if it is, it's a little, you can't even taste it. So, and then that, and then this is what they call a salad, y'all. So I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna roll it in these leaves, okay? So there's mint and other leaves here, okay? So I'm having lunch right now, y'all. So y'all gonna have to bear with me. I wish y'all could see the sauce, but I have a sauce. All right, and I just happened to be very hungry. I was not gonna eat during this live stream, but I is hungry. So give me 1 second. That's what we're gonna talk about, y'all. Now the thing is, so with this, sometimes it's wet, and I do like, not only me, but a lot of people, they do like this to get some of the water off, right? And then this is how Vietnamese people do it. So this part I'm gonna cut off. And this is from my sauce. All right. Give me 1 second. And so I like to do mine like this. In Vietnam, if you're with the family, or if there's a woman at the table, they do this for you. So let me try to see if you can. So they roll it. They'll do it for you and give it to you. Even her husband sitting there watching, they don't get jealous. It's their tradition. If they somehow roll it like this, and they do it like perfectly. And then, okay. And then if you want to dip it like that. I got everywhere. Mm. But it is delicious. I wish y'all could be here to experience this with me. The food is delicious. That's the main reason I love Vietnam. The food. You can get fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. If you eat meat, even fresh meat, especially seafood. I mean, the seafood all up and down the street. And it's cheap. I don't eat crab and lobster and all of that, but a lot of people do. And it's dirt cheap here. I mean, if you're the kind of person who eat that kind of stuff, you think you're in heaven in Vietnam, because it's here, it's cheap. I'm talking about big crabs and big lobsters, all kinds of crabs and lobster. You'll find it here. Show enough, right? You think you're in heaven. Every corner, y'all. Literally every corner. Okay. Okay, y'all, like and share the video, okay? So let's get started. Now we're taught that Joseph was freed from prison. But we were taught that Joseph was the hero in the story, right? That's what we were taught. But I want you to open your mind. Use your analytical, use your critical thinking mind. I'm not asking you to believe something or to accept something. I'm asking you to think critically. That's all. Think critically as I go through the information. All right? I'm not asking you to believe. Just think critically. And tell me if you haven't seen this strategy used on us in the modern day. Let me tell you something else I think. It appears to me that this is what's been done to us. This is a template that has been used for global domination, that the hybrids with their Moorish movements, or those renegade Moors, those Romans, who were eventually, maybe they're overturned, and the hybrid is in power, but whatever, on the face of it, it looks like the hybrid is in power. But this looks like the global strategy that they use to steal the birthright or to put in bondage all autochthonous men and women, the Moors. All right, now let's get into it. So our textbook is the Astrology of the Old Testament, or the lost word regained. Okay, and that lost word is astrology. All right, and this author has been demonstrating and proving from page 1. All right, from page 1. Now, y'all tell some more people to come in here. All right, so I'm not just talking to myself. And then y'all ask questions or put your questions and comments in the comment section. Let me share the screen. Let me see if I can get it to work the first time out. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me first show the PDF. Hold on. Oh, man, here we go. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to make it do what it do. Excuse me. All right. So let's see if we can make it happen. Hold on. Share Chrome. Zoom. Let me see if it's gonna share, y'all. Let's see. There's about a 30-second delay, so let me wait and see if it's gonna share, okay? Is it sharing? Y'all let me know, is it sharing? Hold on. Give me 1 second. No. Hold on, that didn't work. know why this is so difficult to share the screen. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let's see. Maybe this will do it. That it? Give me a second, y'all. I don't know what's happening. Why it's not sharing. Let's try to do it again. So I'm gonna put the PDF on the screen, and then I'm gonna show y'all some other stuff, okay? I'm gonna show you that it's not just me who knows this, all right? It's not just me who knows this. Huh. You are sharing screen, okay? It says I'm sharing, so what's up? Let me see if it's showing y'all, if it's sharing. Give me 1 moment. All right, it looks like it's gonna share. Give me a second. All right, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. So we're gonna start. We're gonna go back to page 108, all right, y'all? 1 second. My table is a little bit too small. I need a bigger table. Shoot. Oh, as I was saying that, my device almost fell. Hold on, y'all. I need a studio, man. Hey, y'all, if y'all like my work and y'all want to support the work that I'm doing, I have a PayPal. I think it's paypal.me/Zion Law School. And you can also send in a donation or contribution, whatever you want to call it, on my Patreon channel, okay, which is patreon.com/Zion Law School, or just go to Patreon and search Zion Law School, okay? That will help a great deal. The live streams would go a lot smoother with the proper setup, right? And equipment, y'all agree? Let me make that bigger. All right, y'all. So let's get into it. Oh, by the way, I have, I don't know if y'all can see this, but I have the traditional complimentary tea. I'm having it cold today. On ice, but my ice melted. And then I have, I usually drink black coffee with ice with honey. So that's what I'm having with my lunch. All right. So y'all, if you are financially able and you want to help out, I will certainly accept your help. Because, you know, all of this stuff, the costs add up. Transportation, buying lunch, and then you got to go through the frustration of, you know, not having the proper facilities and equipment. But anyway, we're on page 108. All right, now let's get into this discussion about how Joseph is a slaver. Joseph is slave master. Joseph is the slaver. Joseph enslaved the Egyptians, not the other way around. The Egyptians did not enslaved the Israelites. Joseph enslaved the Egyptians. Another big lie. Joseph enslaved the Egyptians. Huh? I know a lot of y'all Hebrew Israelites probably getting mad right now, but I'm gonna give you this medicine. I'm gonna give you this word. All right, and this is old work. This is coming from 1892. 1892. All right, ain't nothing new about it. It's more than 100 and what? 92, 2002, 30 plus years, 130 plus years that this book has been published. And there's other books and documents on the topic to prove that Joseph enslaved the Egyptians. All right, now let's get into it. Top of page 108. And Aquarius, or the cherubim, y'all remember? This is talking about the Phoenician cross, where God, according to the scripture, God dwells between the cherubim. Correlate that with Ezekiel chapter 1, the four living creatures, and I think it's Revelation chapter 4. All right, the bull, the head of the bull, which is Taurus, the head of a lion, which is Leo. These are zodiac signs, constellations. The head of an eagle, which is Scorpio, and then the head of a man, which is Aquarius. All right, and this is the Phoenician. This is the Phoenician, like this, top. This is the last pictograph. Now, y'all know that this is hot stuff in the news right now, right? I think it's April 8th. There's supposed to be an X, right? An X. There's supposed to be an eclipse in the formation of an X. Okay, that's the Phoenician Canaanite, which is the ancient Ibaryath Tav. That's the last pictograph or the last letter in the ancient Ibaryath alphabet. Okay, in the Greek, this is the Tav. All right, the Tav is like this. So you see, they changed it. So in the Christian iconography, you'll see the Jesus or the Christ figure crucified on a tau cross. This is a tau cross, or the tau, which is the Phoenician Canaanite or Canaanite Phoenician, which is the ancient Ibaryath. Okay, y'all? This is what he's talking about. Now let's continue. So he's saying that these cherubim that I just mentioned are conclusive. Y'all have to go back and watch the other classes or read this on your own. Figure it out on your own. But from page 107 back, he's saying that these are conclusive, that the God ordained for worship by Moses was the same as known to Abraham of Chaldea. Same God. Ain't no different. Same God. And his divining rod or staff, and this is talking about Moses. This is going to segue into Joseph. I'm not going to go through this whole paragraph. And his rod or staff by which he, that's Moses, was enabled to find water. Y'all remember the story where Moses found water. Shows Moses' knowledge of magnetism. Magnetism. Also original in Chaldea. In other words, that science came out of Chaldea, who y'all have been taught are evil and wicked and everything bad. Now, let's skip down. Let's skip down. In fact, the 7th chapter of Genesis, which confirms this belief, inasmuch as it commences with the building of the Tower of Babel, or Babel, or Bab-El, Bab-El. Darrell-El, right, y'all? Right? Let's continue. Continues to the birth of Abram, 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 Ab meaning original, generator, first. Ram, Aries the ram. Abraham's departure from Ur at the Chaldeans. The 12th chapter, still talking about Genesis, shows Abram, the father, the originator, the first, journeying through Canaan or valley of the Jordan, and staying there till a famine drove him into Egypt. Until a famine drove him into Egypt. Well, didn't a famine, y'all ever think about this? Wasn't it a famine that drove Joseph's father and brothers into Egypt? Y'all see that? Is this a case of typology? I'm just asking the question. Now let's continue. And continues, the story continues from Genesis chapter 12, even to the same account given in Judah. And continues, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. In Josephus, listen, y'all, we read the meanings of the veils of the temple. Y'all got Josephus. I know a lot of y'all got it. If you don't, it's online. Josephus tells you the meaning of the veils of the temple. Tells you the meaning of the breastplate of judgment. Josephus tells the meaning of all related to the tabernacle of Moses and the temple of Solomon. Josephus tells it all. What does he tell all on? That it is all purely, that's 100%. If it's pure, it's 100% astrological in meaning. I'm at the bottom of that paragraph. Y'all see that? It is purely all of it is purely astronomical in meaning. Or if it pleases you better, in other words, if you don't like it because of your religious indoctrination, and I'm not just talking about y'all people who go to church, to the mosque, to the synagogue, to the temple. I'm talking about you religious scientists like biologists. Because you ain't doing nothing but religion. You physicians, most of y'all ain't doing nothing but religion and you're atheism. Okay? This system of having priest gods is ancient. Y'all heard? What am I saying? I'm saying that the professor, let's say you're a anatomy professor, physiology professor, right? You're also a priest, but you were not a priest. I'm talking about going back before worship of external gods, before that whole system came in place. You were not a priest preaching about doctrines of external gods. You were a priest, one who could use the Hermetic Laws and use the position of the celestial bodies and their energetic, in other words, magnetic effect on consciousness, which is reflected in human behavior. You can interpret that by looking into the starry skies. You could read it, okay? The same way, let's say someone who can read Spanish, they look at a Spanish book, they can read it, interpret it, right? If you don't know Spanish, you're not going to be able to do that. They were priests in this sense. Diviners. Y'all remember we went in that? Oh, by the way, y'all know the last video that I did on Moses, they demonetized it. There's nothing offensive in that video at all. But you know why they demonetized it, y'all? Because this information that I'm sharing with y'all is powerful if you choose to use it. Not just freeing your mind, but it's a tool. It is a tool that you can use, just like if you got a screwdriver, flathead or Phillips, pliers, a wrench. It's a tool you can actually use. And they demonetized it. Why? Because they're telling me, don't make content like that. We don't like it. Okay, so they demonetized it. So what I want y'all to do is share it. I want y'all to watch it 2, 3, 4 times so you can find what it is they don't want you to know, because it's going to make you stronger. It's going to free you. And I know a lot of y'all don't want to admit that you are mentally in bondage. It's going to free you. It's going to give you a tool to make your life successful. Whatever you plan on doing, you'll be able to do it. But let me not go further off the topic. My point is this: Josephus spills the beans. Okay, all this stuff in the Old Testament that we discussed is 100% astrological. Period. Now, you Hebrew Israelites, you have a fetish, in my opinion, for quoting Josephus. So don't just take what you like, also consider what you don't like, which is what I'm talking about now. All right, y'all. Now let's get into Joseph, the enslaver, the slave master, the psychic. How can I say it? How they put psychic attacks on the people to rob the people of all of their wealth. Okay, and then of their freedom and liberty. How he used psychic attacks, created the impression in people's minds that there was a natural drought. Now, maybe, I'm gonna tell y'all what I think, okay? The Egyptians were known for their skills in irrigation and agriculture. Everybody knows that. So is it possible for, let's say, Pharaoh? Is it possible for Pharaoh to create a drought and use that as an excuse to strip the people of their wealth and then get the people to sell themselves in bondage and make himself look like the hero? Absolutely, it's possible. Is it possible that Pharaoh made up this whole idea that he had a dream? Absolutely, it's possible. Is it possible that Joseph and Pharaoh colluded together to take advantage of the people through psychic attacks about an upcoming drought? Scare them to death? Didn't we just experience something like that, y'all? Huh? D-I-V-O-C? Divock? That kind of sounds like David. Divock, spell it backwards, y'all. D-I-V-O-C. What does it spell? The pandemic, right? Haven't we seen that strategy before? Huh? Haven't we seen it? So we've observed it in our own lifetime. So it's very possible that Pharaoh, I'm talking about according to the story, that Pharaoh and Joseph colluded together and that they would manufacture the fulfillment of a dreadful prophecy. Okay, why would the people believe it? Because clairvoyancy is a natural, it's a natural faculty of mind. And it was in place, or it was commonly used, just like we hear and see. It wasn't considered evil. It was known to be a common thing that people do with their minds, a common mental faculty. Okay? So the people said, okay, well, why would Pharaoh lie to us? Right? He's the king. Why would he lie? Never suspecting that Pharaoh would rob them, completely rob them. Did they do any research, or did they just en masse give Joseph, whom they didn't know was a foreigner, according to the story, didn't know anything about him, other than he was in jail, and the rumor that they heard, right? And they may not have even heard it. How would the common people all over Egypt know about Joseph and what happened in prison? So in other words, they gave him full faith and credit. They gave Joseph and Pharaoh full faith and credit. They gave out their full faith and credit like candy, and they paid the ultimate price, which was they wound up in bondage to Pharaoh. Y'all heard? Okay? Now this is what happened. This is what the story is saying. And we're going to get into it now. All right? Then after this, I'm going to share some supplemental stuff with y'all. And then you use your own critical thinking mind. Y'all know when I say critical thinking mind, I'm talking about ask questions. Ask logical questions. And then go out and get the answers. That's critical thinking, okay? Now let's continue. Page 108, I got the paragraph where we're going to start queued up. It reads, I desire to add one more remark here in regard to the priestcraft. We read in Genesis XLVII, which is Genesis 47. Excuse me, Genesis 47, verse 7. 47, verse 7, yeah. So we read a full description, listen to this, y'all, of the most remarkable famine in Egypt, in which, listen, y'all, he said it's a remarkable famine. Well, here's why it's remarkable. Though corn grew, listen, though corn grew when it was planted, Pharaoh, under the direction of Joseph, kept buying all obtainable corn. Wait a minute. Y'all saw the movie Trading Places, right? Didn't y'all see Trading Places? What happens if you buy up all of the available supply of, let's say, orange juice, or all of the available supply of, let's say, peanuts, copper? You buy it all up. Well, that's going to do what? Supply is gone because you bought it up. So the price is going to do what? The price is going to increase. This is the old from economic. If y'all remember your days in college, the supply and demand curve. Okay, so the prices are going to go up, right? Big demand. Why is it a big demand? Because Pharaoh bought up all the corn. Everybody else still needs the corn, but Pharaoh bought it all. Y'all see what I'm saying? Now listen. A full description of the most remarkable famine in Egypt, in which, though corn grew when it was planted, it's no problem. You put the seed in the ground, the corn will grow. Pharaoh, under the direction of Joseph, kept buying all obtainable corn. Well, why would he do that? Now, I can see if the corn stopped growing. But then you want to buy as much of it as you can, right? But there's no need to buy it all. And every time you plant corn, more corn is going to grow. Unless you are intentionally manipulating the market. In other words, you're buying it all up because you want to push the price up. Okay, you want to increase the prices. Let me say that again. When they planted corn, the corn grew. There's no reason whatsoever to buy up all the corn on the market unless you have a motive to harm the market. If you harm the market, who's going to suffer, y'all? If you drive up the price of the corn, who's going to suffer? The common people. You drive up the price of eggs, who's going to suffer? The common people. Why? Because they just got a little bit of money. And now they're going to have to spend a larger portion of their money on just eating. And they got less for other things. Y'all see? Now let's continue. I know this is basic for a lot of y'all who are college educated, took economics and all of that. So be patient because most people don't have your educational background. All right, now let's continue. It continues. Though the corn grew when it was planted, Joseph, under the direction of Pharaoh, kept buying all obtainable corn and then selling, listen y'all, and then selling just enough for seed. For his people to barely subsist on. So Joseph bought up all the corn and he didn't put it back into the market. He put it in his storehouses, right? And then he would sell, not give for free. He would sell the people a small amount of corn to use for seed and to sustain themselves. Sustain means just get by. That means if you are heavy, you're overweight, you're going to get skinny. Okay, if you're skinny, you're going to get skinnier. Okay, he kept it in the storehouses. Why would he need to keep it in the storehouses? When the corn was growing, whenever they planted, it grew. Okay, so you have to ask yourself. Wait a minute. Why would the farmers sell their seed? Common sense tells you don't sell your seed because you're not going to have the ability to plant crops during the next season. So keep some seeds for yourself, right? That's common sense. So why would people put themselves in the position where they don't have seeds to plant crops for the next year. I'm gonna tell you why. It's the same reason you Hebrew Israelites and you Christians, your mother, your grandmother gives the church a tithe every month, a percentage of her income, even though the gas bill ain't gonna get paid, even though the light bill ain't gonna get paid, or she gonna have to go out and do something else to secure finance to pay them. But yet she still sends that finance to her pastor, to her Moreh, Moshe, Imam, Rabbi. And she does it every month. Why? Because she believes. She believes. And she's not putting her responsibility to herself and her little ones first. She's putting the external God first and thinking that if or because she's given the external God, him, her finance before she gives it to himself, that's an exercise of faith in that God, and he's going to reward her. But let me ask y'all, where has that gotten us collectively as a people? Where has it gotten the pastor, who would be Pharaoh in this situation? Pharaoh, the pastor gets, or the rabbi, the Moreh Moshe, he gets a better car, a bigger house, a plane, a better plane, comfortable lifestyle. His situation is getting better and better every year, where hers is either not improving at all or getting worse. Huh? Let's continue. Let's continue. So Pharaoh buys it all and then selling just enough for seed for his people, barely to subsist on. Till he, listen y'all, till he, Pharaoh, had gotten the people into such straits until he had totally taken all the people's money. That means they're getting sick and they're hungry and they're desperate, until he's gotten the people into such straits that they sold their cattle. Y'all know, what does your situation have to be, scholars, for you to sell your cattle? Okay, let me say it differently. For you to sell the food you got in your freezer and the food you got in your refrigerator. For you to sell your car, your truck. What does your condition, your situation economically have to be in order for you to do that? You are in dire straits. You're in dire straits. Now remember, the corn is growing every year. Whenever they plant it, the corn grows. But yet the people's situation is getting worse and worse and worse. But yet they got all of this corn. And they're being stupid because they continue to sell to Pharaoh at the price that Pharaoh wants to buy it at. They ignore what's natural, which is to keep some of those seeds so you have something else to plant next season, so you have something to eat. All right, so do y'all see how through this psychic attack, they were able to scare the people, position themselves as the savior, and then have the people depend on them to save them, and their situation got worse. Whereas nature tells you that you're your own savior. Plant your seeds, save 10% for the next season, and then you grow. you just saved yourself. So imagine the situation for the people, the Egyptian people, had they kept 10% of their own seed and planted, would they be in dire straits? No. But they listened to the advice of Pharaoh, who said, give me everything. And then had a nerve to turn around and sell them back seed. He didn't give it to them for free. See, why is it that Pharaoh's making money off of this drought? Why is it that the pharmaceutical companies made money off of the pandemic and all of the other corporations? If it was real. Listen, y'all. Y'all like and share the video. Let other people know that I'm here presenting this information. Okay, whether you agree with it or not, that's really not the issue. I hope y'all agree with me, at least on that. So here we have, I don't know if y'all can see that, but this is Chinese, they call it Chinese celery cilantro. I learned by being in Vietnam that Korean people, they don't like cilantro. So if you got Korean friends, don't offer them cilantro. Give me a second, y'all. I'm hungry. So my point is this. Pharaoh told the people to cooperate, right? To cooperate, sacrifice. But Pharaoh didn't sacrifice anything for the people. Y'all see what I'm saying? Pharaoh didn't sacrifice anything for the people. Pharaoh made money. Pharaoh made money off of the drought. Okay? He looked at it from a profit point of view. And this is why we have to question Joseph's motive and Pharaoh's motive, and why we need to suspect, look for, or even conclude that this is all collusion. They use religion and government to rob the people of their birthright. And worse than that, to get the people to agree to it and to see them perceive these criminals as saviors. Come on. Y'all heard? So this gives the secret treaty of Verona whole new meaning. This makes us have to take another look at the separation of church and state. Yeah, they tell you that church and state are separated because they don't want you to discover that they're one and that they're acting together to commit collusive actions against you, to steal your or to rob you of your birthright, and have you agreeing with it. Thank you. Y'all hear me? Now let's continue. This is a collusive action. Hope I'm using the term right. Between religion and government. Keep that in mind. Okay, they're working together to rob you of your birthright, to rob you of your rights, to rob you of your estate. All right? What do you think they'll do once they get you to sell yourself into slavery. What's the next step, y'all? What's the next step? The next step is to get you to agree that you are not Egyptian. To teach your children that they are not Egyptian. Why? Because they done robbed you of your birthright. Why would they tell your, why would they want the children to know that they are Egyptian and they have a birthright? No, they don't want you to know that. So they're going to tell the Egyptian that they're African. They're going to tell the Moor, the autochthonous Moor, that he's black. They'll institute a color system to get you to publicly state that you're black, Latino, African, African American, whatever part of the world you're in, whatever the branding system is, they'll get you to, they'll re-educate your little ones, your heirs, and then they have no birthright. And they're saying it out of their own mouth. I'm black, right? Now, Pharaoh or the government, those people who have control of the government and the church, the mosque, the religious system, they get to enjoy your birthright. They get to live off of you while you suffer. All right, that's the next outcome. I hope everybody's seeing what I'm saying. Let's continue. Listen. Pharaoh, under the direction of Joseph, kept buying all obtainable corn and then selling just enough for seed to his people, barely to subsist on. They're getting skinny and sick, just barely staying alive within an inch of their life. Prior to this famine, this dream, they're doing all right. But now that they got to prepare for the upcoming famine that somebody said they had a dream about, and somebody else said the solution is to take everybody's stuff and store it up, they were living okay. Now they're within an inch of death. Okay? So Pharaoh gave them just enough seed to barely live, till Pharaoh had gotten the people into such straits, into such a financial, economic, and health condition. I threw health in there, right? Because if you ain't got no money, eventually your health is going to go bad, right? Because you're not eating. Maybe you don't have access to clean water, whatever. Okay? Got them in such straits that they sold their cattle, rings, jewelry, they sold their cars, whatever food they had in storage, they sold their bling, and gave up all their money. Y'all know at this time, money was gold and silver. Gold and silver. They gave up all the gold and silver. They don't even have anything to barter with, y'all. They don't have anything to barter with. Pharaoh totally stripped them, destroyed them through Joseph. Let me repeat that. Joseph and Pharaoh together totally stripped and destroyed the Egyptian people, according to this story. And at last, their lands, so Pharaoh at last took their land. Y'all know land. More is a synonym for land. Let me repeat it. More is a synonym for land. Pharaoh took not only the physical land, but their what? But their nationality. Pharaoh denationalized them. Pharaoh denationalized them. Y'all know a lot of people say that the U.S., United States, unum sanctum. What did they do? They took the Moors' nationality. They denationalized that. Do y'all see the parallels in this story yet? Do you see the parallels in this story? I had something in my tooth. Now, I have often told you, that the Bible, these verses, these stories have double, triple, and quadruple meanings. They say one thing to the common person on the outside of the house. In other words, who is not in the secret society, who has not elevated to those degrees where they're taught that the New Testament is entirely astrotheology. It's our customs, it's the mind sciences, our heritage, etc. But it is entirely astrotheological. And there's astrotheology all throughout the Old Testament. Telling our story, okay? Telling our story. Now listen, y'all. Listen to what else they did. At last, let me go back. Till Pharaoh had gotten the people into such straits, they didn't do it willingly. They used what? What did they use, y'all? They engineered the situation. They engineered the situation. Okay? Public policy. They use public policy and social engineering tools to get the people into such straits that they sold their cattle, rings, jewelry, and money, and at last their lands, the physical land, and their nationality, which would include their birthright, resulting in what? And then themselves. And then themselves. Absolutely. Why? Well, you're a stateless person now. You have a nationality. You're a stateless person. Okay? They sold themselves to the government. Doesn't that sound like a corporate status, y'all? 14th Amendment status? Am I right? Civilly dead? The property the property of a government or corporation, y'all. Let's continue. Even at this day, that's in 1892, the money lender is doing with the unfortunate and unwary in America. Y'all know it was around 1891, I think, when when they first made the move to remove constitutional silver as money. I got this information out of the trust law handbook. But let's continue. So they're still making these moves in 1892. What does that tell us, y'all? What does it tell us? They were doing this in 1892. Let me read it again. Even as at this day, the money lender is doing with the unfortunate and unwary in America. Who are the unfortunate and unwary in America. Who are they, y'all? At that time, 1892, the Moors. The autochthonous men and women. And I'm saying more using the lawful definition of land, more. Autochthonous men and women correlated with Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. The men and women who are what? Sprung from the soil. I'm not talking about any religious organization or any club, anything like that. I'm talking about a bloodline and a birthright. Period. Who's in dire straits in 1892? Who did the banks, who did the financial institutions rather attack? They attacked us. They used public policy and terrorism, Ku Klux Klan, etc., to steal our land. Or to what? Exterminate us and take the land. In any event, these are the same, this is the same playbook. I hope y'all see it. I hope y'all see it. All right. So who the hell is Joseph? Are we talking about a nation of people Joseph is representing? Or are we talking about a religion? A Jeremiah 8, verse 8 occurrence. Y'all remember the magic wand? The scribes wrote lies into the book of the law and made it into a book of religion. I'm paraphrasing. It's my position that this story is a myth, but it is a rewrite and a playbook on what they did to us and what they did throughout the world to steal the land of the autochthonous Moors. Those of us who are sprung from the soil. All right, y'all? Can I say it any more clear than that? This Joseph is representing Judaism and religion, Christianity. How to create, using religion and government, how to create situations or anticipated situations that are dreadful, to scare the masses of people, take control of them mentally through religion and government. All right, y'all, this is what they did. This is religion. This is the secret relationship between religion and government. All right, now let's continue. Now, there was enough to eat for the cattle and horses, and nothing for the poor people, and nothing for the common people. In other words, all the cattle and all the horses, all the animals were eating. Not much changed. But the common people were starved. The common people were forced to give up everything just to survive, which had entered their life. This is what the author is saying to us here. Okay? Now, there was enough to eat for the cattle and horses, and nothing for the poor or the common people, since it was all locked up in Pharaoh's granaries. It was all locked up. Pharaoh had it all. Why do people suffer? Why they're just barely hanging on to life? And y'all know that the cattle, had it not been healthy, Pharaoh would have had no interest in buying them. Y'all heard? Who's gonna buy sick animals that ain't gonna live but a week or a month or a year? Nobody. So the animals had to be healthy. Joseph and Pharaoh looked at this as an opportunity to get wealthy and gain 100% control over the population. In modern times, page 108, going over to 109. In modern times, it would be called a corner. That's corner in the market. We saw that in Trading Places, right? If y'all didn't see Trading Places, go watch Trading Places. See how they cornered the market. See their scheme. Okay, so in 1892, this would be called a corner. And listen, y'all. Let me pull this up so y'all can see it. All right, there we are. All right. So in modern times, this would be called a corner in the market, and a well-planned scheme. A well-planned market scheme for enriching Pharaoh. But as superstition is a quote-unquote dragon, it was in those days considered a miraculous result of a dream of Pharaoh interpreted by Joseph. Y'all heard that? I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about end-time prophecy. Y'all think they could be using end-time prophecy in the same way? Huh? Absolutely. Scare you to death about end-time prophecy? You think the end is coming? So you take the Jabioska, you take it, right? Because you're scared, you think it's the end time. You think that the corporation, US corporation, and all of the pharmaceuticals are out here trying to save your life. And then you find out later that you have an aggressive form of an uncommon cancer that people your age don't get, or something like that, right? Let me not talk like this, y'all, because they demonetized my last video. See, when they demonetize it, that means they're not going to circulate it. They're not going to distribute it so other people can watch it. It's not about the fiat. They're not going to circulate it so other people can see it. Which is why I'm asking y'all to like it and share it. See if you like it. Just click the like button now. 1, 2, 3, on 3. Click the like button. When people see a lot of likes, they think consciously or unconsciously, they think, oh, it must be good because a lot of people like it. Okay? But exercise your power. That's something that each of you right now can do who watch this video. You can like it and share it. Just start practicing exercising your power. Even with little things like that. All right, y'all? So what we see here is that Pharaoh and Joseph cornered the market. They cornered the market. All right. They took all the supply. They took all of the supply and used it as a weapon. And used it as a weapon against the people. And unfortunately, the people didn't perceive that they were using it as a weapon. Huh? Because if they did, they would have never gave up. They would have never gave up the seed, right? They would have kept their own seed. Hold on. But as superstition is a quote unquote dragon, it was in those days considered a miraculous result of a dream of Pharaoh interpreted by Joseph. Now, wait a minute, y'all. Joseph interpreted a dream and told the future. That's called clairvoyancy. So Joseph was clairvoyant. Joseph was a seer. Joseph was a prophet. Now, isn't it interesting how the religious people, they pick and choose who's good and who's bad? Now, if you're not involved in a church or a religion or a specific denomination, and you use the faculty, which is a faculty that we're all born with, if you're not involved in that church, denomination, etc., and you're clairvoyant, they call you what? A devil worshiper, evil and wicked, a wizard or a witch. But if you're in their church, in their religion, and you're clairvoyant, they say you're a prophet of God. And what does that tell you? It tells you that's BS. Right? It's BS. Yeah, they're gonna say, they'll call you a witch or a wizard because you're not in their religion. And they want to consolidate power and control. Why? Because it gives them the money, gives them the finance. It enables them to control when you come and when you go. Right? Gives them access to you sexually, to your consort or to your wife sexually, to your son or daughter. Y'all know how it goes in these religions. I haven't been in one in a long time, but the last time I had anything to do with them, they were whorehouses. They were whorehouses. All right. If they're no longer whorehouses, y'all let me know. You know, all type of pedophilia and everything else going on in these religions. But anyway, let's get back to it. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go into Joseph. I spent so much time on Moses. Hold on. Oh, wait. What did I do? I don't know how to go back, y'all. Wait a minute. Hold on. What the heck? Oh, shoot. Give me 1 second, y'all. Why does this happen? Hold on, y'all. All right. Let me see. Let's continue. In Genesis chapter 40, in Genesis XL, VII 20, and Genesis chapter 47, verse 20, we read, quote unquote, and Joseph brought, listen y'all, and Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. Pharaoh didn't do it. Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. Joseph the enslaver, Joseph the slave master. For the Egyptians sold every man his field. Now, y'all, listen. The Egyptians sold all of their fields. That means Joseph gave them what? Gold and silver in exchange for their in exchange for their fields. What was there to buy? Hold on. What did they have to buy? What could they buy, y'all? What could they buy? Talk to me. What could they buy? What price? Uh-oh. Dang it. Wait a minute, y'all. What could they buy? Why is this a problem? Y'all talk to me. Joseph gave them gold and silver for the field. What were they going to use the money for? There's nothing to buy. So do y'all think Joseph gave them a fair price for the land, given the dire straits that they were in? Given how Joseph charged them for the seeds that they sold to Joseph. Joseph turned around and sold them the seeds that they sold, that they gave to them. Huh? Do y'all think this is loving? Is this Christian love that's being demonstrated in this story? No, you would think that Joseph would have gave the people the seed for free, right? Seeing that they were in dire straits. Y'all imagine that. Imagine you see a homeless person, ain't got nothing, in dire straits, sleeping on the street. And then you bring the person some food and say, wait a minute, you need to pay me for that. Mr. Homeless man, Mr. Homeless family, Mrs. Homeless woman with your 3, 4, 5, 6 children. Yeah, here's some food, but you need to pay me. This ain't free now. Is this Christian love, y'all? Is this loving? To make someone who is in dire straits pay you for some food or for some seed that they got from you to begin with. Huh? I know a lot of y'all mad at me right now. Now let's continue. The verse continues. This is page 109. The verse continues. Because the famine prevailed over them. Because that's telling us the reason why, right? Let's do it again. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh. For the Egyptians sold every man his field. Well, why would they do that? Because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh. So in other words, y'all, Pharaoh created a drought. Now remember, Egypt was well irrigated, and they used irrigation technology so that they could always have a good food supply. So what did Pharaoh do? He probably turned off the faucet. He probably turned off the faucet or diverted the water to go elsewhere and created an unnatural drought. The intended outcome was to get the people to willingly sell their land to Pharaoh and to willingly sell themselves into servitude to Pharaoh. Why did they do it? Because the famine prevailed over them. In other words, because Pharaoh and Joseph used the government. Pharaoh and Joseph used the government to create a drought, a famine, and then use that as a platform to get the people to willingly sell their birthright. Verse 22. Verse 22, quote unquote. Only the land of the priest bought he not. Only the land of the priest Joseph didn't buy. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me, scholars, listen, the priest kept their land, but the common people starved and almost died. They just barely lived, Again, who are the priests? Well, the priests in the time of religion, these would be what? The renegades, the renegade lords. Who, remember Jeremiah 8:8? They changed the book of the law into religion. They were in process. They were in process of creating these religions from natural law and natural phenomena. So it's their reward. They get rewarded. Ain't no different than the corporate de facto US corporation funding academia, and then academia doing studies, being involved at one level of another with developing technologies and other inventions that will ultimately be used to injure or harm the people. Ain't no different. Let's continue. Let's continue. Verse 22. For the priest had a portion assigned to them of Pharaoh. Y'all see that? So now academia is in bed with government also. So you got religion in bed with government, and you have academia in bed with government. So the government gives academia finance, to do certain research, military research, to convert old military research into commercial technology or products today. They got whole departments on this stuff, y'all. I know. And they're all in bed together to do what? Rob you of your birthright and keep you in the Negro, Black, colored, Latino, whatever status that you are in. Let me rephrase that. To keep you civilly dead. Doesn't matter what the label is or the brand. To keep you civilly dead. Civiliter mortuus. Okay? Now let's continue. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. Hold on. I read the wrong verse, y'all. Verse 23. Let me scroll up. Verse 23. Then Joseph said unto the people, and y'all see, unto the people. Y'all know that our ancestors in the Americas, we called ourselves the people, right? And then Joseph said unto the people, behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Behold, I have denationalized you. I put you in a civilly dead state. And you agreed to it. Then Joseph said unto the people, behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. Huh. Wait a minute. Before the famine, it was my land. I was a sovereign on my land. I had my own seed. I was self-sufficient. Now, at this point, I ain't got nothing. Right? The drought, Pharaoh, and Joseph have taken everything I got. Now I'm totally dependent on the government. Now Pharaoh said, here's a hand. Joseph says, here is a handout. I'm gonna give you some seed, and nigga, you better go plant it. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. In other words, Joseph is telling his slaves, y'all niggas take these seeds and go plant. Go plant these seeds. Wait a minute, that's a totally different story than how it was before the famine happened. They planted when they wanted to plant. They did what they wanted to do. They were sovereign on the land. Their land. They did what they wanted to do. Now, after Pharaoh has taken everything from them, here Joseph is giving them orders, telling them to go plant. Does this sound familiar, y'all? Does this sound familiar? Now things have changed. Now Joseph is giving them orders, telling them, you better go to work. Go to work. Listen, see, don't be fooled by the sweet talk, y'all. Be practical. Think in terms of nature and natural law. Listen, verse 24. And it shall come to pass in the increase. Now listen, y'all. In other words, Joseph is saying, look, this is the way it's going to be. I'm the boss man. I'm the master. You are now the servant. I'm the creditor. You're the debtor. This my plantation. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh. I'm the master. You're the slave. I'm the creditor. You're the debtor. This my land. And you're the sharecropper. In fact, y'all know feudalism? Y'all know feudalism? The owner, the rightful owner, the heir of the land, for whatever reason, trickery, terrorism, extermination, gives his land as a gift to a foreigner, Gives his land as a gift to a foreigner. And what does the foreigner do? Foreigner makes him pay rent or kicks him off his own land, kicks off his heirs, his family off of their own land. And then that foreigner uses that land, that property, to charge other people rent and to make finance for himself or herself. This is called livery of Sison. Livery of Sison. Delivery of the possession of the land. Now, y'all listen. Y'all know the story about George Washington cutting down the cherry tree? I don't know if I did a video. Maybe I did a video on this a couple classes ago. But George Washington cuts down the cherry tree. One of the scholars in our class, 506 The Curses course, which I teach every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link is in the description area of the video. Y'all click on that link. Register, come to class Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So one of the scholars, Isaiah John, says, I always wonder, why would George Washington cut down a cherry tree? I said, you know what? Well, me too. But that was a brilliant thought. Why would anybody cut down a cherry tree? Y'all know what the cherry blossoms looks like in springtime? I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Google search cherry blossom. It is absolutely beautiful, especially when you have rows and rows of cherry trees. It's gorgeous. Why would anybody want to destroy that? Right? I thought about it. Here's the deal, y'all. Here's the connection. Livery of Sison and George Washington cutting down the cherry tree. So when this feudalistic custom of exchanging land would take place that I just described, a twig, mud, dirt, or something would be exchanged. So you could cut down a branch or a twig of a tree, right? Give it to the foreigner. Give them some mud or dirt. Anything coming from the property, putting it into the hands of the foreigner. With two witnesses. Notice this, y'all. It would be two, according to the source I read, two children. And then they would beat these children, the foreigner would beat these children half to death. So that they would all, and the reason is this, so that they would always remember when the land was exchanged, when the foreigner took possession of that land, which is supposed to be a gift. Okay, so when George Washington cut down the cherry tree, that was what? That was George Washington and his team, his group, taking possession of our land, taking our nationality, taking our land. And then they did the rite or the ceremony that's done with livery of secession. Chop down the cherry tree. Y'all see it? All right, now let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, verse 24. Now remember, in verse 23, now Joseph starts being the boss, bossing them around. I'm gonna give you the seed, and you're gonna go plant it. In verse 24, it says, listen, y'all, listen. And it shall come to pass. And in the future, right, you're gonna plant the seeds, and when the harvest comes, you're gonna give a fifth of your harvest. So that means you got 5 digits for one hand, right? One of them you're gonna give to Pharaoh. And 4 parts you shall keep on your own. 4 parts you shall keep for yourself. Now, wait a minute, y'all. Tell me. Are the Egyptian people better off or worse off as a result of this whole situation? Before, they're totally independent, they're sovereign, they're on their own land, they're coming and going, doing whatever they want to do. They get a harvest, they keep the whole harvest. Right? In nature, what is it? What is it? Whatever a man sows, that he shall always reap. Right, y'all? Whatever you sow, you reap 100%. But now it's whatever you sow, you're gonna keep 4 parts, and the government gonna keep 1. Don't that sound like a tax? Don't that sound like a tax? Income tax, church tithe. Let's continue. Are the people worse off or better, y'all? You tell me. For the seed of the field, listen, and it shall come to pass in the future, you will give a 5th part to Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. Now we're taught in the church and Hebrew Israelitism that this was a very loving thing that Pharaoh and Joseph did for the people. And I'm telling y'all, and I hope you can see it, that there's nothing loving at all about this. Let me see, can y'all hear me? Hold on. Oh, so my screen is not moving. Hold on, I thought y'all could see what I'm seeing. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me try to, I didn't realize my screen is not moving. Hold on. What's going on? Let me try it again. This device is what I'm using. I got to get a better device. I'm not happy with this at all. Who would have thunk that it's so difficult to live stream, to screen share? This is a tablet I'm on, y'all. An Apple product. No, I don't know what they call it. It's a tablet. It's so difficult to live screen share. This is a tablet. Ah, shoot. I thought y'all were able to see the verses I was reading. Let's see. Hold on. This don't make no sense. Why this has to be so difficult? Give me 1 second, y'all. Wait a second. I'm waiting to see if my screen is going to share. I'm doing a screen share now, but I don't see anything happening. Oh. Oh, yeah. Give me 1 second. Oh, shoot. Impossible. I might have to finish this up, y'all, without the screen share, okay? Because I'm feeling like I'm wasting time. I might have to. Give me 1 second. The sad part is that I'm almost finished. I like really, literally almost finished. Hold on. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. 1 second, y'all. Hold on. Y'all know I usually don't have problems on my other devices like this, but this seems to have its own mind. Let's see. My icons are not working. Let me close this out. I can't even close it out now. Hold on. How can I close this out? Oh, shoot. Well, y'all. Let me try to close all of these windows. Ain't nothing working. Now let's see what's gonna happen now. This is crazy. Oh, I'm in the PDF. So it's like my Zoom app ain't working. Why isn't it? Okay, I see. If y'all gotta go, I understand, no problem. All right, are y'all there? Let's see what's happening. Somehow or another, I got kicked out. Let me see if I got a signal. Hold on. So y'all, let me get through this. I'm just gonna read through it. I'm not gonna share my my screen, okay? I'm on page 109. And it reads here. Let's see if I can turn this way. Get better light. Page 24. No, verse 26. And Joseph made it a law. Listen, y'all. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day that Pharaoh should have a fifth part, except the land of the priests. Except the land of the priest only, which became not Pharaoh's. Okay, so religion has been used. Religion has been used to justify government robbing the people of their birthright and taxing the people. And what do they call it? What do you call it? When I used spinning the situation, to make it look like the religion and the government. Well, let's just say Pharaoh. Okay, we always go with the natural person. Okay, Joseph and Pharaoh. Okay, I wish I could remember that Pharaoh's name because I would say acting as Pharaoh. They spend it to make the people believe that they did something for them and are their saviors. And the people believed it because they don't understand natural law. They did not understand natural law. And notice this. The priests priests kept all their land. They didn't give up a fifth part. They didn't give up a fifth part. Oh, y'all think that might be why corporations don't pay taxes? I mean, there's they make it look like, okay, but they have what? Loopholes. And they don't pay. Or if they do, it's minimal. Oh no, the big ones, not small ones, the big ones. And the religions don't pay taxes, do they? No, absolutely not. Now let's keep it. Let's keep on. Page 109. Take notice. So we're here. We're here. Take notice that the famine ceased entirely. Immediately, Pharaoh through Joseph. Notice, y'all. The famine stopped. The famine ceased entirely. Immediately, Pharaoh through Joseph. So the famine stopped, and now Pharaoh acted through who? Through Joseph. The government acted through religion. But I'm talking about people, all right, natural people. Acted. It used religion. Okay? So immediately after the famine, that's where we're at. Take notice. The famine ceased entirely. Immediately, Pharaoh through Joseph had gotten all the money and jewels, cattle and horses, and lands, and made slaves of the people. Also, that not at any time did the crops fail when planted. So what's the purpose of them doing all of this? They plant crops and they grow. The crops never fail. Let me say it again. The crops never fail. So really, there's no need to do all of this. Why? Because the crops never fail. The people could have gave Pharaoh the finger. They could have gave Joseph the finger. Okay? And they would have ate every day. They would have kept their land. Despite Pharaoh turning off the water spigot. Despite Pharaoh disrupting the irrigation system. Or maybe the scheme was working so well that Pharaoh didn't interrupt the irrigation system. I don't know. I wasn't there. All right. Now let's continue. Take notice. The famine ceased entirely. Famine stopped. Immediately, when the famine stopped, immediately Pharaoh through Joseph had gotten all the money and jewels, cattle and horses, and lands, and made slaves of the people. He denationalized the people, took all their wealth. Also, that not at any time did crops fail when planted, but that after the first year, when the Egyptians were tempted, listen, y'all, but that after the first year, when the Egyptians were tempted to sell by the prices Pharaoh made. Oh, wait a minute. It's not even a market price. It's not even a market price. It's the price that Pharaoh set. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The famine was supposed to be everywhere, right? According to the story. So an Egyptian farmer could have sold food supplies to anybody from another land or from a distant land. Y'all hear me? The market could have set the price. Right? Am I right? Am I right? People were coming from all over, according to the story, to buy food supplies because they were starving. That's according to the story. So if I'm a farmer in Egyptian, I got my own land, right? I'm on my land. My crops ain't failed. All these people coming, wanting to buy. I could have sold and made a lot of money to all of these people. My crops didn't fail. I could have set the price, or the market could have, right? I'm gonna pay you. Y'all know how buying and selling goes. But no, that's not what happened. Pharaoh set the price. Pharaoh cornered the market. Joseph and Pharaoh cornered the market. Huh? They did all of this stuff intentionally. And they wrote a romantic story for the masses. But for the secret society members, it's nothing romantic at all about it. It's all about manipulation, creative prophecy, then manufacture that prophecy so that it comes true and rob the people of their birthright. Have no mercy. Have no mercy. Make them suffer, make them starve, let them die. That's the way it goes down. Okay, with religion and government, they're in bed together, and academia. The corporations are also part of the religious game, right, y'all? So let's continue. Now it continues. It continues. It says here. But after the first year, when the Egyptians were tempted to sell by the prices Pharaoh paid, listen, y'all, they were foolish enough to strip themselves of their seed. Y'all know the tithe was originally was you keep 10% of your seed so you have something to plant. Let me say, I'm not talking about religion. You keep 10% of your seed so you have something to plant for the next year. So they went against that. Now listen. So because they sold Pharaoh even their seed, and so had to repurchase seed at higher and higher prices, right, y'all? As the demand increases, let me rephrase that. So the supply and the demand curve. So as the supply goes down, the demand goes up, especially in a famine, right? So the prices are going to go up. So they're buying back seed at higher and higher prices. This is why Pharaoh was able to strip the people so quickly. And so the people had to repurchase seed at higher and higher prices, and were allowed only enough seed to plant to sustain life. In other words, Pharaoh and Joseph controlled the supply going into the market. They'd only release enough seed so that they can control the amount of supply. So they kept the supply low. How? Because they had all the seed. So they kept the people starving. Now let's continue. But throughout, this is a quote from the scripture, from the story. But throughout There was no famine for the priest, only the poor. Throughout that whole scenario, priests were not suffering. No famine for the priests. The famine was only for the common people. Didn't we see that, y'all, with the DIVOC, y'all? Didn't we? Exodus chapter XX, IX 9. Exodus chapter 29, verse 9. Quote unquote. And thou shalt gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and put the bonnets on them. And the priest's office shall be theirs for a perpetual statute. What did this just tell you? What did that just tell you? That's an elite class. So religion and government would work together. And the elite will never experience hardship. Correlate that to what Jesus said to Christ when his disciples asked him, why do you always speak to the people in parables? What did Jesus say? Now you're going to see the connection. So that although having eyes to see, they never perceive. They got eyes to see, but they didn't perceive that Pharaoh and Joseph had put together a scam to rob them of their birthright and to make them slaves on their own land. Having ears to hear, but never understand. Yeah, they heard everything that Pharaoh and Joseph said, but they didn't understand that they were being scammed. They didn't understand, although they saw the corn never stopped growing. Their crops never failed. They saw it with their own eyes, but they couldn't perceive that they had cornered the market with the intent to steal all their wealth, material wealth, their land, and to ultimately put them in slavery. They did not see it, although they have eyes to see. And they understood basic economics. I mean, we're talking about the ancient Egyptians, right? They understood basic economics, but they didn't understand what was happening to them. Then Jesus told his apostles. He told them why. He told them why. That's what he said. He said, and of course I'm paraphrasing. He said, because if they ever understood and saw what the deal is, they'd have a chance to repent. And be saved. To repent and be saved. So wait a minute. Jesus doesn't want you to repent. He doesn't even want you to have a chance to repent. He doesn't even want it to be a viable option for you to repent. Why? Because he doesn't want you to be saved. Now, that's not what you're taught in the Christian church, but that's out of Jesus' own mouth. Why doesn't he want you to be saved? Why doesn't he want you to repent? Well, because now you're a sinner. You're a known debtor. Christianity is commerce. You're the debtor, and Jesus' apostles, those in the secret societies, are the creditors. and you're the devil. That means you got to carry the load. You're the bondman and the bondwoman. You're that ancient Egyptian who once had a birthright, own land, came and went when he decided, and who's now a bondage, who's now in bondage, owned like property. So Jesus told his apostles, you get to live well. You get to live like you're in heaven on earth because you're a creditor. So you ain't gonna suffer. It's no famine for you. It's heaven. But then the common people, the common Egyptian, no. They're going to be put to work so that you can to finance your lifestyle. To finance your lifestyle. So don't ask me nothing about nothing. Why I'm talking to these niggas in parables. Because if you like the heaven and earth, the heaven on earth lifestyle you're living, don't ask me nothing else about it, because you're living that way because I stole their birthright. That's right. I stole their birthright. So you can live large, heaven on earth. This is what Jesus said. This is what Jesus said. All right. Now, Jesus is supposed to be the greater Joseph. Am I lying? Am I lying? In Christianity, is not Jesus the greater Joseph? Absolutely. Jesus, the religion, with corporate government. Let me rephrase that. Jesus with Catholic Church, right? That's the Catholic Church. Jesus and corporate governments, unum sanctum, y'all, unum sanctum, have robbed the Egyptians, have robbed the Moors, the autochthonous Moors, of their birthright and put them in bondage and made them perceive that Jesus is their Savior. Islam to all the Moors. I'm Dr. Yasapo from Zion Law School. I hope y'all learned something. Put some respect on my name. Thanks for buying my books. Y'all keep on buying my books, learning, educating yourself. Subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath. That online streaming course will educate you. You need the education. Okay, don't ask questions. Educate yourself. You need to learn linguistics, etymology, and grammar rules, and how all that works. That's what my books are about. That's what my courses are about. Show up on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I teach a live class on Zoom. Everybody is welcome. The links for everything are in the description area of this and all of my videos, all the recent videos. Okay, y'all? Support my project to write the Book of the Law in Ancient Ibaryath and Modern English to restore the astronomy, astrology, to show you the astrotheology, to show you the Hermetic Laws, the Hermetic Principles, and the constitutional principles that are derived from them. Support that project with your finances and links. I prefer y'all support it on paypal.me/Zion Law School and also Patreon. Patreon.com/Zion Law School, or you can support on my website, zionlawschool.org. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Islam to all the Moors. I, self-law, am master. Like and share the video. And subscribe, y'all. Subscribe.